If you were in an interview and the person interviewing you had a big piece of spinach right here, would you tell him? Check out this episode of Man Talk as we talk about how do you confront people that might have issues. Join us. Okay, so I got to tell you this story. It wasn't an interview. They didn't have spinach, but this happened to me recently. Okay, someone asked me to help them out, and so I go over to this house to help this person. They've got a leak in the roof, and I get to the person.
So you don't know the person?
Don't know the person. I met him for the first time. Just called me on the phone, but I go to talk to. Sweet, very old lady, but she had a big booger right on the end of her nose. I mean, it was just right there, and it was there. And I didn't necessarily want to flick it off or anything, but I was like,
that's a good decision.
Yeah. I'm like, come here. But I mean, don't know her. She doesn't know me. There's a little bit of that insecurity. And I'm like, just tell her to get,
What'd you do? Did you
well,
tell her?
I got to be honest with you. I did. You do the nonverbal,
Right.
but she wasn't picking up while I was slowing down. So, yeah, I didn't say anything. And so we had our conversation. She told me the help that she needed. I went on the roof and really didn't talk to her.
You just didn't feel like you had the right to say you got a booger.
That was the question that I thought we could talk about. Like, what do you, like, how good do you need to know something? Would you? Let me ask you this: if you were me, would you go, "Hey, you got a booger on your nose"?
I don't. I wasn't there, so I don't. But I have said things to people that I don't know real well, and so something because you just want. If it were me, I'd want a stranger to say, "Hey, you got a booger in your nose." It'd be embarrassing, but I'd be thankful because I wouldn't be walking around.
See, that was the struggle because if I had one right now, I mean, I would hope. So the difference is like we're friends, and I would expect.
Right.
I don't know. Has anyone ever told you something like maybe not a booger, but
I was preaching one time, and I was at a particular church, and I usually check my fly before I go out. Yeah. That's an important thing, and I did not check my fly, and so I always preach with my hands in my pocket. It's a bad habit, and so I did that, and my wife was trying to get my attention, and so I was preaching along and just happy as can be, and my wife finally caught my attention, and she stood up and she went like that. I got the message, so I just casually strolled behind the pulpit and zipped my fly up, and then when I walked out, everybody's like this big old smile that I fixed the problem, and I was thankful that my wife did that because was on TV and everything, so that
maybe I think okay, so that I think that makes sense. Sometimes it's not as what a humorous or as basic as a booger or a fly, but dealing with people and trying to help them.
Yeah.
Is there like a process you go through?
I usually will, I do a lot of prayer about it, especially if somebody's going down the wrong path.
Okay.
The wrong path.
Sure.
Saying, they might be making some decisions during life that are going to destroy them, destroy their family, or whatever it might be. And so I usually think if it were me, what I want you to confront me to say, hey, there's decisions you're making, you're going to, whatever, you're going to mess up your life.
Yeah. No,
and
absolutely.
Then, but I would expect you, and this is what I do, is first, what I want it to be on me, if it were happening to me, what I want you to talk to me. But the other thing is to do it in love, right? I want to do it so it's not offensive. But man, sometimes it's going to be offensive no matter what you do.
Here's some gum. I'm a friend. I'm a friend.
And I you know me. I struggle with a little bit of bad breath, a lot of bad breath, and so if he offers me gum, take it. Right?
I wasn't trying to call you out. I was just throwing that as an example.
But I know that situation, so I appreciate it when people do that because I don't want to knock people over.
I think what happens is we don't want to risk the relationship, and that's what's interesting. I would rather you find out by someone else, or I'd rather you really hurt later but not be on the hook for it.
Yeah,
that's an issue.
It is. Yeah. But to me, it's worth the risk.
No, I agree. I mean, the golden rule, right, in Matthew 7 is simply do unto others as you would have them do unto you, right? So, I mean, I would want people to tell me. I think it would be painful
Yeah.
if someone told me. But man, I've seen friendships ruin. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been in situations where I found out something that was kind of a dark secret, but my loyalty to my friend was to say, hey, look, you don't know this is going on, but this is going
Right.
on.
Yeah.
And it ruined all kinds of things.
Yeah.
But then it took some time, but then later that friend came back and says, you're a true friend. You told me.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's going to hurt for a while.
Right. And so that's where we want to do it in love, and even risk the friendship for the salvation or for the good of the other person.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
a tough one.
Yeah. So hey, here's the challenge this week is is if you need to confront somebody, maybe you haven't just for a long time because whatever reason you're afraid it could ruin the relationship or whatever. Pray about it.
Mm-hmm.
Process whether this is what God would have you to do or not, and then if you need to, go forward. The key though is, and when you do this, and we talked about this, is go forward in love.
Absolutely.
If that person doesn't know that you love them, then you're not ready to confront them. But if so, do it this week. Resolve those issues. I think you're going to be happy that you did.
Absolutely. And so Man Talk kind of fits along with this. We want to love God.
Right. Love everybody.
Love everybody, even when we confront them, right?
Yeah.
And duct tape it.
Fixes everything.
Yeah. You guys have a great week.